Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Christy. I'm a homeschool mom to 3. Today's video is going to be a look at and kind of breakdown of Campfire curriculums, phonics around the campfire, and reading around the campfire. So Campfire curriculums recently released 2 different reading programs, Phonics Around the Campfire and Reading Around the Campfire. If you follow me over on Instagram, you may have seen different clips of us using the program, and you may know that we're using it with my 6-year-old, and every single time that I post anything about it, I get flooded with questions and inquiries. Everyone wants to know what it's about, how it works. So that is what I'm going to do today. So I'm actually going to be splitting this into 2 separate videos, one about Phonics Around Campfire and one about reading around the campfire, so that if you are interested in one or the other, you can just watch one video. Also, these are going to be long because I'm going to try to give you as much information as I possibly can. These videos are not going to be review videos of any kind because I have not been using this program long enough to form many opinions about it or to even see kind of like if it works. So this is just factual. This is information. This is taking a look at it to see how the flow is, how it works, and what it's all about. I'm probably going to be posting these videos on the same day. This video is going to be about Phonics Around the Campfire. So Phonics Around the Campfire is designed to be a typical kindergarten curriculum. So this is the program that introduces letters and their sounds. So if you have a child who is just starting out on their reading journey, just starting to learn their letters, recognize their letters and the sounds that they make, this is the program for you. Campfire Curriculums has designed this program to be open and go with little to no prep, as well as something that you don't actually have to print out. So the way that the lessons are, they're very interactive, and there's not really prompts for a child to write or anything on any of the activity sheets. There's a lot of pointing, tracing with your finger, and that sort of thing. There is a separate file that you receive in your download that has an extension pack in it, and inside that extension pack, it's full of more games, more activities, and also handwriting sheets and that sort of thing. So if you want to add in more handwriting practice, you can do so with the extension pack. So inside your download for Phonics Around the Campfire, you will get the curriculum book with all the lessons in it. You will also receive some flashcards for the letters and the letter sounds. Phonics Around the Campfire, like I said, focuses on letters and their sounds. And then towards the end of Phonics Around the Campfire, they actually introduce some blends, some letter teams. All of the stories and books and poems that they use are all included in the curriculum, so you don't actually have to purchase any separate books, which is pretty cool. The stories that they use are very sweet stories, a lot of Beatrix Potter and A.A. Milne. They also have a separate links page, so at the bottom of the pages there's QR codes that you can access this special links page that is a link to all of the videos and songs that go along with all of the letters. I have really been reading through both of these programs, and what I've kind of gathered from it is that it's a very Orton Gillingham based program, but they also have kind of hodgepodge different techniques and methods from other methods of teaching reading and kind of grouped them together. Something that sticks out that they keep saying over and over again is that they want this to be a whole brain approach to teaching reading. And so they are very methodical in the way that they place activities for your child to do, and a lot of the activities have a specific purpose, and a lot of it has to do with crossing and connecting different parts of the brain. For example, one of the really big things that they have children do is something called air writing, and they will write the new letter in the air at about eye level. And something about the way of writing it in the air, it uses a different part of the brain than if they were writing on a piece of paper, and it's something about crossing some boundaries in the brain and really kind of imprinting that image inside the child's brain. It's very scientific, and throughout the program they will explain that to you. There's a lot of information information for parents to read, a lot of really detailed explanations to why they're doing a certain activity, why this activity is here specifically. They're they've placed everything very intentionally. Each lesson is kind of follows a 10-step process, and it is repeated. All the activities kind of vary in there a little bit, but they're all kind of in a 10-step process, and they all follow that. The first step is always review. So you're going to be reviewing previous concepts through different ways. The second step is say and trace, and with this is where the new letter is introduced for the day that they're going to be learning, and then there's some kind of tactile activity to kind of reinforce that lesson. Step 3 is the air writing, which I've already explained. Step 4 goes into oral movements, and so they focus on how the sound is in your mouth, how it feels in the mouth, where your lips are, where your tongue is, so that children can speak it correctly. Step 5 is auditory processing. So with this is where you will go to the links page and you'll do whatever song that they have. The next step is find it, and this is where they practice visual recognition of the letter. Then they have memory recall, which emphasizes memory recall and auditory process, visual conception, and kinesthetics. So they do everything kind of all at once. The next one is read and find, and this is where the parent will read a story to the child, one of these A.A. Milne stories or Beatrix Potter stories, and then they do some activities about comprehension and also finding specific letters and things inside the text. The next step is review and assessment. So there's many assessments throughout the curriculum just to kind of check in and make sure that the concepts are clicking. And the last step is extensions. Now the extensions are completely optional. You don't actually have to use the extensions to be successful with this curriculum, but they are a ton of fun, and there's a bunch of them, and they vary. There's kinesthetic, like ways to move their body and jump around. There's coloring pages or mazes and other games and activities that you can do with your child to reinforce those skills, have some extra practice, and have a ton of fun. Something else that's pretty cool about this curriculum, and I'll show you when I do the flip through, but they actually have added in some extra pages that go over science and history and Bible and stuff in there. Just briefly, nothing super in depth, but they'll like talk about the animals or something like that, and it's just kind of a fun little add-in. You don't have to use those pages, but I think it's super cute that they added those in. Now I'm going to actually show you a look inside the curriculum, and so you can kind of see how it flows, how it's laid out. So let's go do that. Okay, so since I haven't printed out Phonics Around the Campfire in its entirety, because we're only using the last part, I wanted to give you a screen recording of the contents of this curriculum. So here's the table of contents and everything that it goes over. It starts with phonemic awareness and a couple lessons on that, just really laying that foundation of letters make sounds. And then it goes into each letter. They are introduced in different orders. There's some stories kind of intertwined in there to help the kids see letters in real stories and literature. A lot of A.A. Milne, Winnie the Pooh stories. There's some Beatrix Potter in here, as well as some other really classic stories. The last part of Phonics Around the Campfire introduces some letter teams. So the letter teams they go over are Q, U, C, H, S, H, T, H, W, H, N, G, N, K, and then they also go into other sounds that the vowels make. So I'm actually only using those last few lessons with my son because we have not gone over those letter blends before. So they're still going over phonemic awareness in this lesson where they're talking about animal sounds and they're relating that to sounds letters make. These are some extra pages that they include, and they talk about some of the animals that they mention. So speaking of animals, they go into like a duck and they give you some facts about ducks. There's like otters and like a bunch of different animals they do in there. That's a little bit of an extra science aspect to the lessons, completely optional. If you don't want to include that, you don't have to. I think it's kind of super cute and interesting to kind of throw that in there as well. And each lesson kind of goes along the same process. Like I said earlier, it goes in the same steps, in the same order, and it always kind of ends with like an activity or extensions. And everything is very science-based from what I have seen and read in both of these curriculums, there's full explanations to the process and why they're having the student do different things. There are tons of explanations in the side. I feel like you must read the lesson before you go to teach it. Here's an example of when literature is introduced. So this is The Tale of Two Bad Mice, and it's a story that you as the parent read to your child, which is really, really good. I feel like sometimes it's like about the child reading things with a reading curriculum, but I feel like it's also important for parents to read to them so they can experience a real kind of complex story. And they also do a lot of looking for the letters inside of the story. Here's an example of a kinesthetic activity where they're making silly apple bites, these little monster things with the snack with the apples, and it's super cute. I love these little activities like that. Something that I think is pretty cool is a lot of the activity pages, you can have the child use their finger. They don't actually have to write anything. So if your child isn't, capable of writing things, or you don't want to print this entire curriculum, they can just point or use their finger in pretty much every activity I've seen. They also have little kinesthetic activities like making little snacks and recipes and different games and stuff where they're moving around and moving their body, which I think is really important for those wiggly kids. I definitely have one of those. Here they're talking about connecting both sides of the brain, so that visual and auditory connection. So you're finding a picture and you're describing and playing this kind of like guessing game. So your child finds a picture in a book, and then you as the parent have to ask these questions to try to figure out and have them kind of be really descriptive about things. So here we're getting into the pages that I actually am using with Emmett. So we started with the letter team QU says qua, and it talks about how letters as a team say something different than they do when they're by themselves. So the letter team QU always goes qua, and it talks about quails and like all these different things. You go into CH, so CH together says ch, and talks about emphasize of that. I like the way that they describe this. I think it's really easy for kids to understand. They make it really easy to understand, which I love. This lesson was super fun because we had to go through our house and find snacks, and we made like a plate full of snacks that either start or have CH in them. So that was super fun. He had a fun time with that one. They also go into talking about how TH actually makes two different team sounds, and one of them is a soft sound and one of them is a hard sound. And they talk about sounds and feeling it in your throat in earlier lessons. So it's very important that you go through those lessons so your child knows when you say soft sound, they know which TH sound it is, if it's or z. And my son actually grasped this really well. And when he was practicing these words, all I'd have to say is it's a soft sound, and then he would know the difference. And so that's super helpful. And again, they have classic literature in here, and I absolutely love the little stories. All of the literature is included, like I mentioned, which is really awesome. Now I'm showing you the Phonics Around the Campfire extensions pack. So this is full of other activity sheets that provide extra practice. There's extra games and activities in here, extra flashcards if you need them, just different things. So I'm just going to let you kind of look at this now. So this is the end of the Phonics Around the Campfire like review. So they have this story and you're kind of playing this back and forth game to kind of test their knowledge and make sure that they master everything. Don't forget to check out the Reading Around the Campfire, which will be the next video if you're interested in that program as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and I'll see you soon.